talking about the government, I mean, the Minister of Employment and Labour trying to make some amendments to the law, saying that an employer can now fire an employee for refusing to take the vaccine. How legal is that?
It's not legal at all. There is no such thing as mandatory vaccinations. You don't even have to be mandatory vaccinated against child illnesses. But when a mother gets a baby, the baby is immediately put into the hands of the nurse, and there you go, the baby needs to be vaccinated. You can refuse, but people don't know that. They think that the problem came in during June this year when the Minister of Employment and Labour promulgated directions in relation to mandatory vaccination in the workplace. So that phrase created the impression as if it's mandatory, but when you read the whole document properly, you will realize that the minister have stated in there as well that if you don't want to be vaccinated because of constitutional reasons, the employer must make additional work for you or arrangements for you at the workplace. So it is not mandatory, but unfortunately, government. I believe that the government has done it in the way they did because they wanted to put the blame on the employer. They wanted to shift the blame. If anything goes wrong with these vaccinations, then we can say that the employer who have mandated it was the one who did not read the law properly. And I believe that is actually what was going on. And labor consultants and attorneys have, making money out of this, have jumped on this bandwagon and have consulted with their employer clients and have pushed them into the position that they are being forced to implement this in the workplace. So, but that is unfortunately what the situation is, and we'd like to obviously stand for the rights of the people who are being threatened by it.
Now, let's talk about the trade unions. Usually when something happens with an employee, they're the first ones to go like, no. I mean, the Americana case, they were trying to take the president to court, or the current president to court, for him to pay and so on and so forth. But they seem very mum regarding this case right now. They're not saying anything. What's your take on that?
Well, the trade unions, we must remember, are merely extensions of the political parties they represent as well. So all the ANC is in alliance with COSATU. So all the members of COSATU will obviously support the ANC. They get money to do it. There's this great belief that a trade union is there to protect the rights of the employee, but it's not that simple. It's if you've got leaders of business in the executives of trade unions, they are there to protect the employer's rights. So that is why all these trade unions, they sat back and they have allowed their members to fall for propaganda and false information being pushed by the government to them. And it's a pity, but hopefully this have taught people that it's much better to take your membership fees that you pay to a trade union and invest it in something else. They are not there to protect you. Luckily, there are organizations like us who's willing to assist employees and other citizens in need now.
And let's talk about the work that you do as Liberties Fighters Network. How can you help people who are being forced to get vaccinated, maybe in the workplace or so on and so forth?
Well, we have developed a template letter that any employee who are currently faced with mandatory vaccination threats, that they can simply download from our website. It's www.libertyfighters.co.za. And free of charge, you just download it, you complete this free letter, and then you submit it to your CEO of your business, the main brain of your business, and also copy us, our legal department, in that correspondence. Once it has been delivered, you have made a protected disclosure in terms of the Protected Disclosures Act to your employer, meaning that if you are being threatened to be vaccinated or even tested for COVID-19, which may not be done, it's discriminatory, it's against various international laws and treaties, in particular the UNESCO Declaration, Article 6 thereof, specifically stipulate that no person in this whole on this whole planet of ours may receive any medical treatment or intervention without a person's clear consent. And that consent can also be withdrawn at any stage without being prejudiced. So once you have delivered this notice, you have made a protected disclosure, and then you may not be sanctioned by what the Act is calling an occupational detriment. You may not be disciplined, you may not be dismissed, you may not be demoted, you may not be anything that can go wrong in a retaliation against you for having made that protected disclosure may not be done, and your employer is given 21 days to investigate your complaint and report back and rectify it. If they don't do it and they continue with it, we have said Liberty Fighters Network is willing to, free of charge, assist those employees going through this to take the matter to a relevant legal forum, which will most probably be the Equality Court. But we are there then to protect and hold the hand of this employer all the way. It's for both vaccinations, if you're forced to be vaccinated for COVID or any other vaccination, and also there are policies now out there where they are saying that if you don't want to be vaccinated, then you must present a test every 3 days or every week that you are clear, but you must pay for it. That is also totally. It's like holding a gun against your head. Because people know that these tests cost anything from 800 rand and upwards, and it's just too expensive for most of our people. So they are being forced that they must take the vaccination. Otherwise, they must be tested, and if they are not even tested, they are being locked out from their home, from their workplace. And but then we are also saying that if that is happening, you are responsible to still keep on paying your employee, irrespective. But we definitely there to assist free of charge in that respect. We've come a long way since March, May last year, 2020, when we took the government to court about the national state of disaster. We were challenging it, and after approximately a dozen court hearings and a lot of court papers, we still don't have answers because the government did not provide us with any answers. I doubt whether the government knows why they have promulgated or created a national state of disaster. And unfortunately, the whole COVID-19 vaccines have come in the news lately, and it created a lot of havoc. So I would like to answer a couple of questions that relating to the vaccines and what your rights are. Many people don't know their rights.
You stand against these things. Like, what are the uncertainties regarding the vaccines that you've picked up?
Well, firstly, as I've said, that the government seem to be totally oblivious of what is going on.
Yeah.
They say that there's a virus that is the cause of a disease called COVID-19, but still they can't provide us with a proof that there is this virus. So there's a lot of information out there to apparently support the existence of this disease and this virus, but there's also a lot of information out there to say that it's all a total hoax that is going on. So irrespective of whether you are believing in COVID-19 as a disease or not, you've got a right to know what your rights are.
Yeah.
And that is the problem we are sitting with. There's a lot of propaganda being pushed at this stage from the government side and from mainstream media. And at the end of the day, people are living in fear. They think that when they don't get this vaccine, they will lose their job.
Yeah.
Even landlords are planning to get rid of their tenants who are not vaccinated. So there's a lot of issues surrounding it. But yes, we're here to assist.
We're hearing that, our grandparents are now also, who stay in homes and so on and so forth, are being forced to be vaccinated. Can institutions do that?
No, they cannot do that. We've had complaints where the elderly has been forced, literally, to take the vaccine. Else, they were asked to leave the old age home. And again, we have developed another template letter where people must also complete it, send it through to our legal department when you email it, and you are also then protected from any discrimination whatsoever. We've seen landlords sending out letters to their buildings, to their flats, saying that their tenants are given a certain period up till, this one letter I saw was up till the end of September to be fully vaccinated, and then if they don't, their lease agreements would be terminated. It's totally discrimination. You've got big institutions, retailers, saying that if you show your vaccination certificate, you will get 10% discount. That is also discriminatory, and we can assist people with that free of charge.
That was a lot of information, and it was very critical. Thank you so much for your time. I think a lot of people have learned, because I think this also carries over into whether you're in school, you're supposed to be vaccinated. If it's university, high school and so forth, they can't do anything. There are no grounds for that. I really hope that, a lot of people take this information and it helps them, reach out to people like you so they can be protected, because it's not fair for people to be coerced in this manner.
It is not. And I'd like to end by saying that you've got a choice. We are not saying that don't be vaccinated. We are telling people that do your homework. And if you come to the conclusion that these vaccines are not safe, there's no use for it, I'm not going to get it, because I feel that it's totally useless, because even if you are vaccinated, you must still wear the mask, you must still do social distancing, and then you must also be revaccinated every 6 months. It does not make any sense to me. So I've done my homework. You must do your homework. Make sure that when you are threatened or put in the position that
Yeah.
you must undergo this vaccination, ask to be counseled. And when you go to that medical professional, ask them, what is the content of it? Is this vaccine experimental or is it already there? All these vaccines have only been approved for emergency medical use.
Yeah.
It's still experimental. I will not be a guinea pig. I
Yeah.
will not allow that my children are guinea pigs. Once it's safe and it has been cleared and approved, I will consider it. Ask the questions, and if you don't receive satisfactory answers back, you simply say you refuse, and you have got the right to refuse without even giving any explanation.
Yeah.
It's your choice, it's your body, it's your dignity. No one can take that away from you.
Well, guys, you heard it. Very informative. People will be saying, oh, do your research, do your research. We just gave you research. Free, for mahala. So, you guys, if you are at your workplace and you're being forced and coerced to take the vaccine, else you're going to be fired, or maybe they want to kick you out of where you are renting out a space, you're trying to buy something. These are the people you talk to. They'll protect you and help you free of charge. Reyno De Beer, sir, thank you so much for your time. Guys, it's Youth Live. Always bringing the fresh information. You know how he does, man. Check you out later.